Good afternoon, good evening. My name is Michael Igodaro. I am the Global Director for Advocacy and Policy at Prevention Access Campaign. And I know a lot of you have must have heard about the transformative message about You Equals You and how it has transformed the lives and well-being of PLHIV around the world. So I joined PAC a couple of months ago, but before that, I have known about the message and the work that this amazing organization have done in transforming the lives of PLHIV around the world. A little bit about me. I was born and raised in Nigeria. I left my parents home at the age of 14 because of my sexual orientation, and I ended up in the streets and became a sex worker and sort of walked around these issues with my friends and colleagues in the streets. And as a teenager, I got infected with HIV. The message about You Equals You, when I first learned about it, has been a transformative message for me, not just for me, but also my colleagues and friends in the community. It has been the positive message that we needed, not that we did not know that it was important to stay on treatment and get treatment, but that as an added advantage that not that you don't just get to die anymore, which is the most critical issue, but that you also don't get to transmit HIV. That you actually get to have a lifestyle that you want to live without fear of stigma and discrimination, and that you're actually not gonna die. Right. So the message of You Equals You has been so transformative, and the work that PAC has done, Prevention Access Campaign has done, is to empower advocates and to move policymakers and to make them uncomfortable. That the message around You Equals You is so critical that we have to get it in the hands of healthcare providers, nurses, doctors around the world, so that they can inform their clients that when virally suppressed, they cannot transmit HIV. At PAC, we have had to fight so hard with our partners around the world to move government, to move policymakers to adopt policies that says undetectable actually means untransmittable. There is no maybe, there is no I think so, maybe there is no I don't know yet about it. It actually means when you're undetectable, you cannot transmit HIV. That has been just the first step of what PAC has done in the last couple of years. And this year, we are taking it a step further. We know that it's so critical and it's so important. I can say that myself that PLHIV stay on treatment. They have access to treatment. They have a lifestyle that they want. That we invest in the health and well-being of PLHIV. But that's just one step. What that gives us is that actually, if we do all of those things, if we reduce stigma, if we eradicate discriminative laws, if we eradicate racism, if we invest in PLHIV, that folks can actually have access to treatment, that they can actually stay on treatment and not transmit HIV. And what does that mean? That we will reduce new HIV infections. The first win of the win-win strategy, which I'm going to be speaking about today, is really about access. It's really about getting people to treatment. It's really about removing the obstacles that make it difficult for PLHIV not to get treatment. I know around the world, a lot of people still struggle with agreeing with You Equals You because they don't believe it's possible for them. Well, my question and my comment and my ask would be, what are those obstacles that we need to remove so that You Equals You can be possible for you? What are those obstacles that are still in existence that we need to work together collectively so that You Equals You can be possible for everyone, everywhere? That You Equals is not seen as a privileged option. It's not option for just people who live in the West. That You Equals is made possible for everyone, everywhere. That's the first win, right? If we can achieve that, we can achieve to the first you, which means people who have access to treatments can stay on treatment and achieve undetectable viral load. And what does that mean if they can achieve that? That's the second win. The second win is that if we achieve all of those things, if we remove all of those obstacles, if we can make PLHIV, if we can make sure PLHIV around the world have access to treatment, we remove the barriers and obstacles that make it difficult for PLHIV to access treatment, they can achieve undetectable viral load, and that means they cannot transmit HIV. And when they cannot transmit HIV, that means their reduction in new HIV infections around the world. That's the second win. So the first win is really personal, and people will tell you, well, Michael, yeah, it's good for you to achieve viral suppression. I mean, it's great. You want to stay on treatment. Oh, it's amazing that you want to stay on treatment. That's for you. That's a win for you. But what does that got to do with me as a government in Uganda or in Afghanistan or even the US in the South, who do not believe that women have right or gay men have any rights? What does that got to do with me? Or that PLHIV does not have any rights? Well, what that got to do with you is that from an economy perspective, is that if you invest in PLHIV, if we can achieve the first win, that means the second win is you spend less money on new treatment, on new prevention tools, because there will be less infections and you'd be reducing new infections. That's just from an economic perspective. From a global AIDS policy perspective, it means we will be on the road, on track to ending HIV. That's the second win. So that's really what the win-win strategy is at Park. We believe that if we can get everybody to sign on to this, we can increase access and remove barriers to optimal treatment and care and services for PLHIV around the world. Again, we know what ubiquity really means, right? That everybody everywhere needs to have access. But we know that there are still difficulty in people getting access. And I am no oblivion to the fact that there are women in Uganda or Nigeria or Tanzania or Egypt who still struggle with having access to treatment. I'm not unaware of the fact that there are some people who are on long-term HIV treatment who can never achieve U equals U. But we have to work together as a sector, as a public health sector, as an advocacy group to make sure that with what we have, with the tools we have PrEP, we have condom, we have other treatment options. We also have U equals U. And we have to work together that we transform this into an option for everybody. That whatever works for someone here, that person can access it. And whatever works for the other person here, that person can also access it. That we don't become an obstacle to each other. That's really the key core message I'm sharing today. Like, we have to make sure that everybody have access, and for those who cannot have access, that we work to break those barriers, and for those who have access that doesn't work for, that we find options that work for them. That we are open-minded about options. That the goal of ending HIV is not just to make sure one person have access, the other does not, or what works for you doesn't work for me. That means I'm going to fight against it for you. That we all come together as a community to make sure everyone have access to these tools. Because if we do that, we can end HIV epidemic. So basically, the win-win strategy is really not just a strategy focused on one policy issue. Actually, it's a strategy focused on classism, sexism, devaluing of HIV positive lives, racism, homophobia, transphobia, xenophobia, because all of those issues that I just described hinder people having access to treatment. If as we work collectively in alleviating these obstacles and making sure everyone everywhere is valued, we can actually get people on treatment. And I know I'm saying this as getting people on treatment is the goal. It's not the goal. The goal is human rights. The goal is access. Because if you respect people as human, if you feel like people are human and they're respected, then it shouldn't be difficult to get people on treatment. Because if we see people as human beings, that's the goal, right? We see everyone as human being, everyone as equal. Because again, as we develop the win-win strategy, our third position is, yes, everyone is equal, everyone is the same everywhere. And we know there are places where people are still being xenophobic, people are still homophobic, people are still racist, people are still transphobic. And the way to get into this conversation is, we just want to make sure people have access to treatment. And we know this person A, person B, person C, D, he have these structural barriers. And we want to work with them to take down those structural barriers so that they can achieve U equals U, but also so that they have human rights. So again, our goal is focused on persuading governments to adopt policies of U equals U, right? To make sure they are working on issues that remove those barriers that I just mentioned earlier on, to make sure they are working on issues with community at the forefront in making sure those barriers are removed, that women in Africa, in Caribbean, in the US have access to treatment, that key populations, gay men, trans people have the rights in place, but also remove the structural barriers that make it difficult for them to get prevention and treatment services so that they can get treatment. So you ask me, what do we need to do? We believe that government need to integrate U equals U into official government policies, laws, and strategies, and increase access to HIV treatment, care, and services to improve the quality of life for PLHIV and prevent new HIV transmissions. And educate and encourage dialogue about U equals U among healthcare professionals, policymakers, and community. And most importantly, promote U equals U clearly, repeatedly, and prominently in all health communications. It is so important that we don't feel intimidated, that we don't feel worried that if we promote U equals U, that we're going to be promoting the message of, STDs or STIs or fear of new pregnancies. We believe in, if you believe in science, if you believe in data, you shouldn't be afraid to clearly put out the message and data that U equals U is U equals U. So at PAC, what do we offer? Because around the strategy, we offer leadership from those people living with HIV. We train community members to take this message on and spread it in their community. We provide technical assistance. And with the U equals U win-win advocacy forum, we engage with our community members around the world. With the U equals U win-win advocacy, we have over 60 community-based organizations in the community at national level and at global level who have signed on to this strategy and who believe in this strategy and who are working with us right now as I'm speaking to make sure people are getting the information about the win-win strategy, because we believe it's going to be transformative, not just for PAC as an organization, not just for PLHIV, but actually for the entire field. So what can you do? You may ask. This is what you can do. You need to respect people living with HIV. Respect that they can make the decisions for their lives, that they can make decisions for their lives on their own. And you need to provide and advocate for investment in people living with HIV. Because if we do that, we will have the key. We will be on track to ending HIV as an epidemic. So all of this that I've just said from a technical perspective, right? But also let me go to a personal point of view, really. So as someone living with HIV, I believe that it is not only my job to reduce new HIV infections, it is all of our jobs, right? It is not left on PLHIV to be responsible for reducing infections. And you might just say, well, what you're saying right now contradicts all you just said. The reason why I'm saying that is we are doing this because we want to first stay alive. We want to have a healthy lifestyle. We want to be healthy because that's the first goal. That's the first you, right? So if we're able to achieve that, that means we are not just doing it for ourselves anymore. As PLHIV, we are actually providing the field with the roadmap to ending HIV. So, my friends, this has been such an important conversation. And I think, again, what I hope you all can do is I hope you learn and take these tools at PAC. You can go to preventionaccess.org. We have more information about the U equals U message and the win-win strategy. You can go to our website, Instagram, and our Twitter page and our Facebook page to learn more about how you can be part of the win-win strategy. Because this is such an important message in such an important time right now, even as we are the Waters Day is coming up. Such an important tool that we can use to transform the message in our field and transform how people see PLHIV. Because again, we are not just UICO is not just a stigma reduction tool. While it is important for stigma reduction, it is also a prevention tool. It is also a strategy to end HIV. Thank you very much and hope you have a great day.